What is up, party people? Happy Thursday. Portion of the program brought to you by NCA, National Certified Alarm. No long-term contracts. License number 645. What's up, Bell? How you doing, brother?
I am, I have to admit, I feel kind of a little dirty because I keep giggling over the fact that Eric Swalwell had to resign.
Yeah, he did.
Because it couldn't happen to a nicer scumbag.
Yeah, that guy is there. So he also, I think he was staying at a guy, like at a billionaire's house that he was staying at. I don't know if you saw that. And that guy is a big donor to the Republican Party. He's like, I mean, to the Democrats. He's like, I'm done with the Democrats. I'm a libertarian. No, I'm a Republican now. I told him to get out of my house.
You think the little creep would have learned his lesson with Fang Fang when he got busted with her?
The entire thing about, though, think about this, people. The hubris, I keep saying it, to think so overly confident that nothing in the past would ever come up and bite him in the butt while running for governor is, and this isn't one of those things where I said something and she took it the wrong way. Like Kylie, you know, it's like, oh, nice shoes. Oh, you wanted to rape? No, that's none of that. And this is like, he choked me.
This is a guy that more than once has called Trump a convicted rapist.
Yes.
And that is the definition of the pot calling the kettle black.
That's it right there. You know, same thing with that Gonzalez guy. The fact that he had the cojones enough to go, you know what, I'm not going to resign, even though the lady that I was sending inappropriate pictures to, telling her that she had to do things for me, and other things happened, and she was distraught and lit herself on fire, I still don't feel I need to resign.
Wow.
God, that's insane. That is absolutely insane.
Well, like I said, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
He's such a clown.
He's done. He's not going to be He's not going to be governor next term. He's not going to be a congressman again. He's just a defeated, just piece of garbage.
The other side is, and I think we need to ask the question about all politicians, right or left. Because I saw some of them out there going, yeah, well, we'd heard stories and rumors. Now, there's 435. You're not going to know everybody, and you're not going to be close to everybody. And rumors are one thing, but it's like with Bill Cosby was a horrible secret, but Bill Cosby did the same thing that Lance Armstrong did. He strong-armed you. If you said anything, he came for you. He came for my buddy, and he cost my buddy $1 million. $1 million is what it, and they had to do a formal apology and all of this stuff. It was horrible. Lance Armstrong, everybody knew. First of all, it's bicycle racing, right? And it's, but you can call it a Tour de France. I mean, it's cycling at the highest. Everybody cheats. You ever see when they try to go back and they're like, all right, well, you were dirty, so we're going to have to give it to the second place guy. And then they're on the 14th place guy because everybody's cheated. But Lance, it's what Lance Armstrong did, right? Go for the throat, destroy everybody, and do that. It's the same thing that Hillary did.
It's like, how dare you accuse me when I'm actually doing what you're accusing me of?
Exactly. Which is just it. I'm telling you. Ah, God, the hubris, lads, the hubris. But I always look at Harvey Weinstein. People not in the industry knew how bad he was. And nobody had the cojones enough. Well, he could have ruined my career. I'm sorry. No. I mean, I don't. How do you not?
He ruins this lady's life, and that's worth less than your career. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Now, I could get it if you are just starting out in your career, and nobody's going to listen to you whatsoever. Like, maybe you punch him in the throat. But I could understand that. But when you get to the point where, you just, how don't you go, dude, you're not only not going to stop, you're going to go apologize to everybody. You can do everything you can to make amends, and then you're going to get out of this business, and you're going to go hide somewhere. But instead, they all just turned a blind eye. Well, that's just the cost of doing business. It's the same thing in D.C. Well, we heard rumors. How many of you guys out there have friends where you've heard rumors about things like drugging and choking a woman while they raped them? Anybody? Just
and he'll escape any kind of judicial
Nope.
You don't think
nope,
he will?
they're coming hard for him.
Good.
Manhattan.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
They're looking at Manhattan and Los Angeles. The DA in L.A. is coming hard for him. Hard for him. Absolutely.
Hope he ends up in jail.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is a who was it? Remember, was it Stormy Daniels' attorney? That was,
yeah.
And he ended up going to jail?
Avenatti.
Yeah.
He ended up going to jail for extortion.
Yeah.
Because he was extorting. How was he doing? He would go into companies and say, pay us, or we're going to say you did something, or something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of, and then he would get money and he wouldn't report. He did a lot of stuff, but it was one of those things where be careful what the spotlight is. And I'm not saying everybody's guilty, because people do come after people. People do lie. Look at the baseball player Trevor Bauer. What he did, look, he got his freak on. She liked it rough. He gave it to her rough. She tried to extort him. He's not playing baseball in the major leagues, and he's still probably one of the best pitchers out there. Now he's playing in the independent league in, like, Atlantic City. Why? Well, because he got extorted. So, yeah, you got to wait to hear. But the rumor, there wasn't anything before, and there hasn't been anything since with Trevor.
It's just that arrogance of putting yourself up on that moral high ground and saying, I know this is wrong and he should be punished. Dude, let's look into your past.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm sure we've all done stuff we're not proud of. And it's not, stuff that's not even close to being illegal or done anything wrong. But it is the fact of which they think they're so above it all that they are untouchable. And you know what? I some of it is Trump, and it's not Trump's fault, but it's the fact that Trump fights a lot of this stuff and says, that Gonzalez guy, when all of that came out, the fact that he stood around as long as he did, and the only reason he's gone is because the Republicans had to pressure him, saying, "Dude, he can't." The Democrats and everybody's pressuring this guy to leave, and he's going to do it. You got to go with him. But the whole thing about, we've talked about it before. And again, it's not Trump's fault. Trump has changed politics in a way where stuff that used to destroy somebody politically, now it doesn't. People they go right through it. It doesn't matter. People will forget. And some of that's also the 24-hour news cycle. It's not Trump's fault, but, there is that. And stuff that's happened to Trump. Good, bad, even though it's by our definition in today's world, bad. That 20 years ago, people would have been out. Like we said earlier, like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton would have been gone in today's world before it ever got to the point that it did. For all of those people coming out, would have been smoked. Nope. Different time. Different time. Oh, they just showed, what's the latest on our Secretary of Health? What's the latest on him? Did he cut off the grundle of a raccoon?
A dead raccoon.
Yeah, a dead raccoon. I want to get that right. And
well,
everybody's
it's not like he was mutilating a live animal, but it is weird to admit to having a fascination with animals' junk.
I got to be honest. Normally, I'd say that's a lie, but based on a lot of the other stuff, yeah, probably true.
Talking about the bear he found in...
The bear he found, the worms that live in his head.
The bear that he said had been run over by a bicyclist.
Yes. I mean, so I'm not saying it's totally true. I'm not
now
saying
you got to wonder if he cut the junk off the bear.
Oh, that's right.
I think the bicyclist did.
Oh, you think he did? When he ran it over? Because that's how...
They couldn't find it afterward.
And then he left and he goes like, hey, I should go get some dinner and hang out with my friends. Oh, my God, I forgot. I have to go tomorrow to a different country, and I got a dead bear in my car.
It's found it in Central Park.
I'm just going to throw it down here, and then it'll be a mystery.
Threw it out in Central Park.
So so insane. And then the whole I'm snorting coke off of
toilet
seats. I got nothing to worry about. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats.
It doesn't have any sugar in it.
So, how did we get here, people? How did we get here? I have no idea. Did you see that killing in Virginia?
Yeah, the
lieutenant governor, former lieutenant governor.
Yeah.
Good God.
Murder-suicide.
What the hell happened there? something going to come out. That's just insane. So it's all happening, kids. It's all happening. I just cannot believe that we have that. That is our Secretary of Health has another thing out about him taking a dead animal and doing something to it. At least this, did he put it anywhere? Did he say how it died? Was it run over by a kid on a scooter?
I don't know.
Right. We've got Pete Hegseth quoting something, a Pulp Fiction movie. Ezekiel Tarantino. Did you hear that?
No.
You haven't heard it?
No.
Oh, today, yeah. He was like, there's this prayer out about, check this out. He's talking about the pilots.
To all Sandys, all those A-10 crews, prior to all CSAR missions, but especially this CSAR mission that happened in real time. They call it CSAR 2517, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 2517. So the prayer is CSAR 2517, and it reads, and pray with me, please. The path of the downed aviator is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother. And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1 when I lay my vengeance upon thee. And amen.
And everybody's like, hey, wait a minute. That comes from a movie. I don't know if you guys remember this.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
That's what we got going on.
That's old Jules.
Oh, God, that's such a great movie. Was it not?
Yes. It was outstanding.
What are you going to do with them? Oh, I got a plan. We're going to have some people come over here and we're going to get medieval on these guys.
Yeah.
That was so great.
I'm not done with you by a damn side, hillbilly.
That was so, just when I saw it in the theaters, I was like, what's the, oh, there's a gimp. Oh, what is this about?
Yeah, that I did not see that scene
No,
at all.
out of nowhere. Here it is. You're like, what is this about? These guys are fighting in a pawn store. Next thing you know, they're downstairs, and here comes a gimp who's living in a box.
Get him. Yeah.
Oh, that was such a bizarre. The whole thing was
Who is Zed? Zed's dead, hon.
so great movie.
Had a Harley Davidson named Grace.
Yes. What about us? There is no us as long as you leave. Okay. Remember he was supposed to throw the fight, and then he knocked him out in like 2 seconds?
And killed him.
Yeah. Zed's dead. Oh, lordy, what a day. So much stuff to get to today. Pilot's doing a meow, and we're going to talk about it, right? Meow. If you guys didn't hear, that was so weird.
It's been an odd week.
It is an odd week. And everybody keeps going, you need to Google what the people in the Appalachians do with raccoon penises. I'm like, no, I don't. First of all, I'm not going to get called into HR.
Kennedy is about as Yankee as it gets.
Yeah, there's no, yeah, see? Yeah, that's not happening.
It's in baloney.
Yeah. So now they're like, it's a prize toothpick. I'm like, no, it ain't. Hey, you want a raccoon penis toothpick? No, I don't, actually. Appreciate that.
A prize toothpick.
Oh, my Lord. So, no, we'll get to a bunch of other good stuff, including the weird story of Allbirds. Hey, we are no longer making shoes.
I tell you what we're going to do, boys. We're going to start making AI.
We're going straight into AI. Wow, look at our stock. Crazy. We talk about that. Ticketmaster handed a big loss. What does it mean for you and I and everybody else?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing. Sports ball. Little sports ball with Bell. I gave him a heads up today. I said there's going to be a sports ball, so you should probably learn something about sports at some point. You've been warned. Plus, we'll talk a bit about Iran, a bunch of other good stuff on the way. Hope you guys are well. Happy Thursday, everybody. Chad Benson, Super Tech 997. Relief Factor is awesome. I take it every single day. It's naturally formulated. It's going to help you feel better. And it helps me feel better in so many ways. I'm working out a little bit more, feeling a little bit better, and dropping some weights. But, the reason I'm doing that is because, I want to be healthier, but also because I'm starting to do a lot of running again, and I want to make sure my aches and pains in my joints from the years of soccer, I don't feel it, and I don't with Relief Factor. It is incredible what Relief Factor can do for you, especially when it comes to inflammation. It's naturally formulated. You can take it every single day. It's got the best stuff in there, including something that many people don't know, which is black pepper extract, which helps your body absorb all of the goodness that's in Relief Factor. Try it now. Just $19.95 for a 3-week quick start. And you get it by going to relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com, or call 800, the number 4-RELIEF, 800-4-RELIEF for Relief Factor. USS, United Structural System, ready to help you when it comes to all things foundation, basement water intrusion, crawl space moisture, you name it, they can help you with all that. We always talk about every crack tells a story, through all the weather we had, especially with the cold snap. Now we're getting ready to have a bunch of rain. Do you know what's going on below? Stuff you can't see. Starts to get humid. You're going to start to, maybe you get a little mold, a little wood rot. You don't want that. What you want is USS. They're local. They live here. They understand our weather, our soil, and our homes. And that's what they're ready to help you. 30 years in business, 30,000 local homeowners trusted USS. And the reason is simple. They come out. They're going to take away the worry about what might be happening. And they're going to assure you, hey, we're not going to say anything you don't need. And we're going to do it right if we have to do anything the first time. Call them today. Have them come out and give you a free inspection. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855, or check them out online at USSTN.com.
Just the governor's signature away of a school voucher expansion. Details coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, good news on that, right? Pointed it out yesterday. I just like some transparency. Want to know?
When's that CPS bill get signed?
Oh, yeah.
There's not one. I'm sorry.
There's not one. We're going to continue to investigate. We're going to continue to look at stuff. And the Charlie Kirk thing, does that get through too? Where you can't, what's the new rule going to be? You can't
turn speakers down because of their religious beliefs or their topic.
But you also can't protest with signs and or get up and walk out.
Yeah, you can't disrupt.
Now,
And you have to have the 10 Commandments posted.
Yeah. That's totally a different one.
Oh.
But I'm sure it's somewhere in there. But the whole, like, okay, what do you mean I can't get out and walk out? What if I just don't want to be there? What if I'm like, oh, God.
What if my walkout is a protest?
Yeah. That's speech. I think that somebody's going to challenge that, and that's going to get shot down. Because now you shouldn't be able to scream and shout. Everybody, you can stand up, scream, and then you need to be escorted from the building, and that's that. You shouldn't stop people from speaking. But if the protest is to get up and walk out, and you are going to kind of complain, or they're holding up signs, that's ridiculous. That is. So we're getting all stuff done. How's everything else? Potholes good? We're good with that? Everybody good?
Yeah, we still got plenty.
Yeah. That's we do. We have plenty. We could always use more. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Always use more potholes. Absolutely. By the way, just to let you guys know, apparently this is a big deal. This whole thing with raccoon thingy-mabobbers. So
You mean toothpicks?
yes. I didn't first of all, bad. That's weird. Secondly, somebody at some point in time had to get to the point where they're like, I wonder what's in his wiener. Because I need to pick my teeth.
Wonder if it'll help.
Mm-hmm. So that's one. Just think about that for a second. Somebody said,
Got to pick my tooth.
yeah, sorry. No, that's a hard no. You ever wonder how, like, you found that out? How did you find that one out? Let me tell you.
Well, it's like wondering, how did somebody find out that this thing I'm eating is not poisonous?
Well, it was trial and error.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You
I
know
just
how
feel
we
bad
found
for
that
the
out?
error.
That one over there is poisonous because he's dead. Oh, yeah.
Let's see if Mikey likes it.
Oh, Mikey. Does Mikey like it, you think?
Hey, Mikey.
So, I know they're trying to get a lot of bills through. And then yesterday we broke down the numbers on the school vouchers, 35,000 and 66% of the people that are getting them, they're already in private school, and the amount of money that, they're getting, that's great. And again, I have no problem. Give everybody vouchers. I don't care. My issue is how you sold it isn't the way it's working. Welcome to modern politics. It's always like with kids. So it's always with the kids too. Whenever they want to do something, it's like they just got to tell them it's about the children. It's always about the children. 100% about the children. And there you go. The children. And then everybody's like, oh, we got to do it. It's for the kids.
For the children.
It's for the kids. Nobody ever says, screw the kids.
We have to go in debt for the children.
For the children. It'll be good for them to be broke when they're an adult. Oh, my Lord. Speaking of that, yesterday, we were talking. Yesterday was one of those days where we pissed some of the boomers off. Just want to let you guys know, I wasn't trying to be mean to the boomers, okay? I wasn't. And we tell you guys, don't take it personal. We're having fun here, okay? In our generation, we were actually, Ken, we were talking to the big boss today about the Gen X. We're not going to have a president.
Yeah.
And
Which is probably a good thing.
yeah, that probably is a good thing. Because you know why? You get a lot of this. And it won't be performative like you get now. It'll be like, really? Are you that dumb? What? Don't you just want that? Oh, God, really? Another one? Oh, Lordy, Lordy. All right, coming up. It has happened. I think Ken got it right when I said, what will happen with Live Nation and Ticketmaster? Probably nothing, but you know what?
Slap on the hand.
If that. But could they try to break them out? They could do a lot of things. We'll talk a bit about that. Allbirds decided, hey, I'm not into shoes. I'm into AI. All you got to do is slap AI on something, watch your stock rise. We'll talk a bit about that as well. And again, we have sports ball with Bell coming up a little bit too, because it's always good to know with Bell exactly what's going on. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers in Hendersonville, heads up. You got police activity on the right shoulder, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard eastbound before New Shackle Island Road. And in Antioch now, we got a crash right shoulder block 24 westbound before Harding Place. And in Tennessee, the state Senate has just approved an expansion of the school voucher program. Senators voted 18 to 14 to add 15,000 new education freedom scholarships, bringing the statewide total to 35,000. The vote followed hours of debate over cost, transparency, and impacts on public schools. The bill now heads to Governor Lee, who is expected to sign it into law. Operation Epic Fury. President Trump announced on social media that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire effective today at 4 o'clock Middle Tennessee time. Meanwhile, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth had a warning for the Iranians during a morning news conference today.
While you are digging out, which is exactly what you're doing, digging out of bombed out and devastated facilities, we are only getting stronger.
House Republicans, by the way, blocked a war powers resolution meant to curtail U.S. military action against Iran. Also in Middle Tennessee, a vote is scheduled today that could expand weapon detection across Wilson County schools. Board members considering the purchase of 4 roving scanning systems for nearly $450,000. The systems would be shared among middle and high schools, and the district school leaders say weapon detectors are already in place at several campuses. And one type of Xanax, one of the country's most prescribed anxiety drugs, is being recalled.
The FDA has issued a voluntary recall for Xanax XR extended release tablets in the 3-milligram dose. The warning is because the pills don't dissolve at the standard rate, and because of that, they can lose their effectiveness. People are being urged to stop taking them. Only the 3-milligram version, sold at $60 per bottle, are affected, and it should be noted that the vast majority of those prescribed Xanax are taking the generic version, which is not affected by the recall. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Live Nation. Live Nation. Ticketmaster present somebody at a venue we own where you want to play here and you're going to use all our stuff or else.
Oh, there's no or else. You're going to use our stuff and we're going to charge you crazy money for it.
Yes, that's exactly what's going on. So yesterday, it was 34 states and the District of Columbia. Jury came back and said, yeah, it's pretty much monopoly. And you can't have that. So you're going to have to pay people back or something. But we don't know how much it's going to be. I heard $700 million, which is a drop in the bucket. They're willing to eat $700 million if they can get out of this thing. Don't you think? I mean, why wouldn't you?
Oh, well, yeah, easily.
And it sucks. I mean, we've been talking this week about the cost of tickets and, what they're charging for stuff, which is outrageous. And the fees and these fees and that fee and this fee. And now on Amazon, you're getting another fee, a fuel surcharge fee or this. And it's frustrating. But this has been brewing forever. But the thing is, I don't have to go to Amazon. If I want to watch, I could buy it locally and go somewhere else. I can't do that at concert venues.
Takes Live Nation 10 days to generate $700 million in revenue.
Oh, so it took them 10 days, just a little over a week and a half. Oh, my God. So now the question is, first of all, the judge is going to decide how much. And then it goes to the states. So the 34 states will have, so let's say it's $700 million. They'll split up amongst themselves, I guess. I don't know how they're going to, how they figure that. And then maybe people get some money back. Maybe. And the question's going to be, are they going to force them to break it up?
Well, if they don't force them to break it up, it's a moot point. It doesn't matter.
That's the big thing right there. If they do not force them to break it up, which is the most important thing, because you couldn't, you're not going to say, okay, here, we'll allow another ticket venue to, to split this. You're not going to do that. So you would have to break it up or tell them, look, if it's, I don't know how you have to break it up. You just have to. And yeah, there are some other groups out there that have some, reach, like AEG, which they're the ones who own, I believe they own Coachella. They don't own Couchella. By the way, I don't charge any fees at Couchella.
You should. Make a little extra green there.
The fees matter. But can you force them to break it up?
Live Nation owns, operates, and controls the booking for hundreds of venues. And then Ticketmaster is the group that sells tickets for the events. Live Nation was accused of crushing its competition by blocking venues from using other ticket sellers. Live Nation argued in court they are not a monopoly, saying the different performers and venues decide the prices, not them. But then last month, Live Nation and the federal government struck a deal, a surprise deal, that required the company to admit wrongdoing.
But here's my thing, and Belle, you would know this. So, yeah, okay, there are other, it's the fact that if you want to buy a ticket to the concert and you're going through the regular way that you would do it, not a reseller, but the regular way of doing stuff, right? Because you could still buy tickets from SeatGeek on the resale market, right? Or one of those. I'm assuming that's the way that works. But if you're going to go through the venue kind of thing where you're like, okay, somebody's on tour, and let's just say it's the Dead Milkmen on tour with Cypress Hill. And so you go to their thing. Okay, cool. They're on sale tomorrow at 10. That's Ticketmaster only. It's the secondary market. It doesn't matter. The secondary market, because everybody's going to buy, SeatGeek or, whoever, fan, whatever.
Well, and part of the problem is that, it's claimed that Live Nation and Ticketmaster don't do enough to prevent bots and secondary people from the secondary markets from scooping up the tickets so they can resell them at higher prices. They're accused of basically letting the secondary market come in and take huge swaths of the tickets because then they've sold tickets.
Yeah.
And if they don't go to a guy who, is a plumber for a living and is willing to spend $500 for, floor seats to some show with his wife, well, they don't care.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, because all that matters, because they've got their fees. They've got everything. So at the end of the day, it matters very little to them. And they don't, if by the set that, when they're like, well, they don't set the rate. How do they just have, is it like everywhere else? Do they charge per, because I was trying to find out today, I couldn't see. Do they charge 20% of whatever the face value is, or is it just a flat rate?
I think it varies according to the contract with the artist.
Okay. So, and they own a lot. See, that's the other thing. They own venues, too.
You can go back to, the mess that was Taylor Swift's on sale for the Eras Tour.
That was
just an absolute complete mess. I mean, they could not have made a worse done a worse job of that if they had tried. And then it's like, okay, we've got this fixed. We know what we did wrong. This won't happen again. And then Metallica plays the Sphere, and they have the exact same problems. Yeah.
And really was the Taylor Swift thing, because it upsets, and it upset the kind of people. Metallica people were pissed, but they're not Swifties. Swifties did something where they went straight to the internet and they complained in the tens of thousands and millions, and that got everybody to take notice.
But it goes to show that the problems they claim were fixed were not fixed.
Yeah, they're not fixed. No. They're not going to, and like you said, it takes 10 days to make that money up. Hell, you know what? We'll call it a cool billion. There you go.
So was that another 3 days on top?
Mm-hmm. No big deal.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. We're living like, you know what, guys, 2 weeks.
We'll give you 2 weeks of our money.
It'll all be good.
The other 50 we keep. The other 50 weeks we keep.
That is just, God.
And we're still a monopoly.
And we're still a monopoly. And they own the venues. So it's not just that they're promoters. They own the venues. So if you want to go and play there, it makes it harder for independent groups to go there. So if, Chad and the Weasels want to go play there, that's the name of the band, Chad and the Weasels. You guys are the Weasels, by the way. So, and we want to go play there. So we're going to, let's go play here. And we're like, you know what? We don't want to use Ticketmaster. They said, well, sorry, you're not going to play this venue. So you're doubly, you can't even go, I want to work with you, the venue, because no, we own the venue.
And it's not necessarily, I mean, there are some instances where you might be able to go to a different venue that another promoter has access to, but that's a rare occasion where that can happen.
Yeah.
If Ascend Amphitheater tells you we're not going to let you play here, you don't really have any other choices or in Nashville proper to go to. You're going to play Bridgestone? Well, can you sell out Bridgestone?
And even if you can, who do you think is selling those tickets?
Yeah.
Ticketmaster. I mean, it's everywhere you go, you're either working with them or a subsidiary of them, and that's the issue. And yes, there are other groups that you can work with, but a lot of those groups are regional, and they don't have the same reach. So, man, we'll see. Again, I think Ken was right. You know what's going to change? Nothing. Nothing is going to change. Meanwhile, speaking of change...
Allbirds has announced its business will go from making sneakers to building artificial intelligence infrastructure. The company, which is changing its name to Newbird AI, says its aim is to be a fully integrated GPU as a service and AI native cloud solutions provider. That means buying and renting out computers to AI developers. It's a stark pivot for the ailing shoe brand, which last month announced it's selling its assets to a brand management company for $39 million. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
A few years ago, they're worth $4 billion. So they're pivoting to AI.
Well, that's a collapse.
Yeah, that is a collapse. Because come to find out, other people also make shoes. I was unaware of that until recently. So what other weird companies or companies have done weird things, started out as something and did something else? Quaker Oats started out as cereal. You know where they make a lot of their money? Video games. What? Yeah, video games. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, they bought Fisher-Price, and they then went on to buy Atari. They own Gatorade. Oh, and they also made bombs. Not movies, actual bombs. How weird is that?
That's variety for you.
The other ones, like Nintendo. Nintendo was a trading. They were playing cards.
Yeah, they started in, what was it,
1800s? Yeah.
1872?
Something like that, yeah. And that's how they started out, as playing cards. Then they went into love hotels, taxis, instant rice, and then they're like, screw it, let's just do video games. That's crazy. Nokia. You guys know Nokia? They were a paper mill. Then they were into rubber boots. And then somebody says, you know what we should do? Phones. What, phones? Lamborghini. How do you think they started out?
Spaghetti.
Tractors.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah. Yeah. They started making tractors, and then the founder got mad at Ferrari, and he says, I'm going to build a better car. Avon, books to perfume. Wrigley, soap and baking powder to gum. Coors, they did beer, but they also did ceramics and military tech. I mean, there's so many of these companies that pivot, and you're like, how did this start again? Oh, it started like this. That's so weird. But this isn't going to go well for them.
But how do you shift from making shoes to AI when I have a hard time believing that people making shoes really have an understanding or an education in AI?
No.
So you're going to flush all those people out of your company.
Yeah, and what they're trying to do is they're going into use AI as a way, they're pivoting into the greener space of AI, right? Like carbon footprint, sustainable platforms, data optimization. I was going over this stuff earlier. So they want to make it an AI type situation where it's more granola AI. But it's not going to work. But what happened? Right up went the stock. But this rarely goes well. A karaoke company last year or earlier this year? They announced the same thing. We're done with karaoke. We're out. And then they got a huge spike, and then and yesterday there was a massive spike in this Allbirds. I mean, they were trading at around 250 to 270. And then, boom, up to $17 at its high yesterday. Like, what did you think was going to change? Like, why are you buying that? Like, I see if you were owning it at 2 and you could dump it at 5 or 8 or 10, but you're like, why would you even think about buying it? Like, thinking I'm going to hold on to it because I really think this shoe company is the cutting edge of AI. You didn't know that?
They're on to something.
These guys know exactly what they're doing. No doubt about that. All right, coming up, it's our favorite time to learn about sports. Our man, Bell, as you guys know, is a cutting edge in sports. Nobody knows anything more. He's like it's not quite as good as his music side, but it's close. We're going to talk some sports straight ahead with Bell K. Jeff Enzo, Super Talk 97. Oh, Board Capital would love to talk to you about what it is they've got going on when it comes to your investments, your retirements. How are you feeling? You feeling like, hey, this is great? You feel like opportunities abound? Are you worried about the what-if scenario? Because the what-if scenario is very real. Stuff's overbought. Are you protected to the downside just in case? Because part of being able to live a great life when it comes to your investments is protecting them. And they want to show you what they're all about. Lower risk, lower cost, lower volatility. What can they do to help you? They want to give you a free Know Your Risk portfolio review. This is where they go through it, talk about all the things you got going on there. Maybe you got extra fees coming out. Maybe you got a lot of different things happening in a way where you look around and you think, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure I'm going to get to where I want to go with my investments. Let them take a look. They're going to give you a straight, honest answer. They're not pushy. They work with my family, work with myself. They're amazing. So this is what I want you to do. Check it out. Sign up. Absolutely free. It's a Know Your Risk portfolio review. Go to knowyourriskpodcast.com, KNOWriskpodcast.com. to sign up for Bulwark Capital's Know Your Risk portfolio review, or check them out online as well at bulwarkcapitalmanagement.com. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investment all risk, not a guarantee. Past performance not guarantee future results. Check 2647.
15,000 more Tennessee families. Looks like you're going to be eligible for some of those school vouchers. That story and more coming up at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Before we get to any of that, turn to the guy who knows sports inside and out. You know who it is.
Now it's time for Sports with Bell. When you need to know sports information, you turn to the guy who calls basketball shooty hoops. Let's talk some sports with Bell.
All righty.
Got my football bet ready to score 4 points.
Score 4 points. Oh, he kicked a great goal right there. All right, Bell, what do you got for us? Anything?
I read a story about a soccer team doing a minute of silence for their former player who wasn't dead.
Who wasn't?
Who wasn't dead.
Who wasn't dead?
Yeah.
Who was that?
But I don't know what team it was because I don't know the soccer teams.
I got to look this up.
Yeah. You know, as we get closer to the World Cup, we're 56 days away from the World Cup. On my Nashville show, we're breaking down the World Cup, and we're talking about the first
Is
World
that golf?
Is that golf?
Yeah.
No, that's soccer. It was what
Is
golf?
the golf season over?
No, it just started, really.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a lot of time left. But the first World Cup took place in 1930, and let's just say it was interesting, right? To see the way that they just invited anybody who wanted to show up to play in the World Cup.
Did Hitler go?
No. Hitler, that came later.
Oh.
But the first groups that came from Europe. So three teams traveled together along with the referees and the entertainers. They all traveled because it's a boat. Romania wasn't going to allow their players to go until the king said, if you guys don't let the players off work, I'm shutting all of your businesses down. And they're like, we've had a rethought. We wish them all the best. Yugoslavia was supposed to pick up Egypt, who said they were going to come, but they didn't get to the port on time. So Egypt just missed the World Cup. And
why didn't Tito give them their own transportation?
Because they were going on ships. And it was the Great Depression. A lot of teams turned down going because of the Great Depression. They're like, we can't. The guy that scored the winning goal in the World Cup final had one arm. We, America, finished third. We finished third. We won our first two games. We're right into the semifinals and got thumped by Argentina in a game that was, let's just say, so violent that one of our players, they had to reset his leg, and he was screaming. They were going to use chloroform to knock him out. The guy that was I guess at the time, the trainer, he accidentally chloroformed himself and then passed out.
So how much money do you get for third place?
Back then, probably nothing.
Well, why would you break your leg for nothing?
It was a different time, man. One of the guys, though, on the way home, he got pneumonia and they thought he was going to die, so they dropped him off in Genoa in Italy, and then they all went home and they assumed he had died, and they were getting ready to have his funeral, and he showed up.
Maybe that's the guy they were eulogizing.
Maybe.
No, that was in 2025.
There we go.
Bulgarian top division side Arda Kardzali mistakenly held a minute of silence for their former striker Petko Ganchev.
Oh, Petko.
He was alive. 78-year-old was watching the match at the time.
That must have been nice. You're sitting there watching TV, you find out you're dead.
Yeah. Well,
And
like
the
the other
club
day, remember, was it Michael J. Fox, right?
Yeah.
The CNN accidentally did a eulogy on him?
Oh.
He's like, no, not yet.
No, still here. It's like
Still shaking, but I'm still here.
Oh my God.
I think back in the 90s that happened with Bob Hope. I think ABC News actually broke in and said Bob Hope was dead, but they had to come back on and say Bob Hope is not dead.
He played golf.
He did play golf. He played a lot of golf. That was kind of his jam. That's why when you go out
I know stuff.
When you go out to the desert out in Palm Springs, there's a lot of stuff named for presidents and named for old actors, and a lot of this stuff, when you go in there to play golf, it's pictures of Sammy Davis and all of them playing golf. All right, coming up. Oh, yeah, Sam. All right, coming up next hour, we're going to talk some Iran. What's going on over there? Apparently, we just announced that there is a ceasefire deal with Israel and Lebanon. Israel said, slow down. So we're talking a bit about that. Bunch of other good stuff on the way. If you missed the show, shame on you. Got the podcast. Hour number 2 straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
1 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Germantown, we've got Rosa Parks Boulevard closed due to a crash there at Jefferson Street. And in Hendersonville, still got police activity showing. It's off on the right shoulder. And it is Vietnam Veterans Boulevard eastbound before New Shackle Island Road. That's about a 6-minute delay. Everybody get over there for the first responders. After some debate, the Tennessee Senate today passed a scaled-back expansion of school vouchers. This is some of the back and forth as seen on News 2 today.
Talk to the average person in your district. Ask them how much it costs to pump gas. Ask them how much it costs to buy groceries. Ask them how much their energy bills are. Ask them about their situation. And then tell them you voted for this to help people who make almost $100,000 a year. That's the median.
The child has a right to find the place that's going to make them the best and most productive and responsible citizen. And the best people to determine what that path is going to look like is the one that lays them down to bed at night and knows how they sleep, what their dreams are, what their capabilities are, and what their aspirations are. And so for that, I encourage you to support this legislation.
So this plan adds 15,000 scholarships that allow families to use public funds for private school tuition. The bill now goes to the governor for final action. Also today, the Wilson County School Board set to take up a vote on school safety upgrades. The proposal includes buying 4 portable weapon detection systems with a price tag close to $450,000. District officials say the scanners would be used at multiple middle and high schools as needed. Wilson County already operates weapon detection systems at several locations. Operation Epic Fury. Here's Marcus Moore on the new development today.
We've just seen a statement from Lebanon's prime minister welcoming the announcement from President Trump saying that there will be a ceasefire that goes into effect at 5 o'clock Eastern, which would be midnight here in Beirut. And so this word just getting out and certainly will come as encouraging news, not only to leaders here in the region, of course, here in Lebanon, but the nearly 1.2 million people who've been forced from their homes as a result of the fighting in the South.
As for Iran and the U.S., Secretary of War Pete Hegseth had this to say during a press conference.
We are locked and loaded on your critical dual-use infrastructure, on your remaining power generation, and on your energy industry. We'd rather not have to do it, but we're ready to go at the command of our president and at the push of a button.
House Republicans have just blocked a war powers resolution meant to curtail U.S. military action against Iran, and that's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Happy Thursday. Sportsman program brought to you by NCA, National Certified Alarms on Long-Term Contracts. License number 645. Just a little while ago, Trump speaking about the Pope.
You had a conversation on the Pope. Mr. President, on the Pope. The Pope criticized people who, quote, manipulate religion for political or military gain. Do you think that he was talking about you, sir?
It's very important that the Pope understands. Very, very important. It would be nice not to say it. Iran killed 42,000 people that were totally unarmed. They were protesters. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they did, every country, including Italy, where he's stationed, every single country in the world would be in trouble. So we're doing very well with respect to that, having to do with the whole situation on Iran. The blockade is amazing. It's holding up very strong, very powerfully. And I think we're making a lot of progress in that. But the Pope has to understand Iran, very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. The world would be in great danger.
Mr. President, would you meet with the Pope to even out your differences? Because Catholics are torn.
I don't think it's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary. I'm not meeting with that damn Pope. Can you guys find me the part where the Pope says, I hope they get a nuclear weapon? Have you found it yet? No? But I don't get the first of all, stop fighting with the Pope. Just move on. There's other things to go on and talk about, right? Like the Pope, you can move on at this point. I think it's the best. Sometimes it's, you know what, we always talk about. Sometimes just scroll right by. Just, you know what, I'm going to let this go. And if somebody asks you a question, say, you know what, we've already dealt with that. We're moving on. You got any questions about Iran? Where are we going? What's going to happen next? That's all that should matter. At this point, those are the only things that matter. This should be your hyper-focus. Is Iran? What do we do with the blockade? Is it working? Is it not working? What does that even mean? Well, nothing's getting out. Okay, but nothing's getting out. That means for everybody, not just us. Are oil prices crashing? Because that's what we care about. Let's be honest. We don't care. No, oil prices are still up. That isn't changing. Prices across the board are going to be up for a while. It's not a snap your finger thing. And remember, everybody's like, well, now we could stop them from ever. They didn't. It was always open up until the war started. Let's not forget that there was no blockade. There was no stopping people from passing. There was none of that. It was open. It was. So the question is going to be, what's next? Now, if it's true that there is a 10-day ceasefire with Lebanon and Israel, that's a great thing. That's the first place that we've got to go, because I don't think Iran was going to do anything until they stopped.
Just a question to clear my own confusion up. It's the ceasefires with Hezbollah, because they're not actually attacking Lebanon as a country, are they? Or they're bombing, you know. Is Lebanon's military retaliating?
No, it's not. Their whole thing is Israel will shoot a missile, it'll land, boom, it kills a bunch of people. They say, well, there was some terrorists there, some Hezbollah people were fighting in there. And so they're telling everybody, dropping leaflets, you guys anybody who's not Hezbollah needs to leave town. We're going to bomb, anything that we possibly can to make sure that this stops. So
okay.
And Lebanon, of course, wants them to stop bombing their country. And remember, it's a weird thing. You've got half the country very rural, but was very much Hezbollah friendly. And the closer that got, the closer that was to Israel and whatnot. The rest of Lebanon was regular people. And if you guys don't know, Lebanon's got a lot of Christians. A lot of Christians. It used to be a predominantly Christian nation.
Doesn't it have the most Christians by population of any Middle East country?
Yeah. So it is, there's they want Hezbollah gone too, but they don't want Hezbollah gone if it means you're going to destroy their country. And that's the issue. And so far, like Trump says, they got a deal, and that's to put pressure on Bibi. Because that's a full court press on BB. And which is, look, it's a brilliant move. Because then if things go sideways, we can say, well, you know what? We thought they had it. We were told they had it. And BB and the War Cabinet decided no, they weren't going to do it. So that's on them. I can only do so much. We're dealing with Iran. We're not dealing with Lebanon. We're not worried about them at this point. And that's the way that he has to approach this. Israel, for their part, say they're in a meeting, they're hearing, they're talking, and we'll see. And we know this with Israel. How good is that really going to hold up? Trump has got to put pressure on Israel to step up, because even if we sit down and we talk this coming weekend with Iran, what exactly does it mean if Israel wants no part of this and still thinks that we have to move or go in and do something? I mean, that's the thing, because we can't come up with because you imagine if we said, fine, we've come up with this great peace deal between Iran and us. They've decided they're going to give us their, enriched uranium, and we're going to release some sanctions that we've got up there. We're going to give them some of the money that they have out there, and we're going to make it easier for them to do business. And then Iran says no. Israel says no, we're not going to do that. So this is, unfortunately, we have this weird situation where we're having to go and tell Israel, this is what we're thinking about. And this is what they're offering. And we think it's good. But if we decide everything's good and we think it's fine and Israel attacks again, well, then it's a nightmare. So it's this weird thing that's going on between, it's almost like a game of telephone. And you never know what BB is going to, do when it comes to any of these things. And you also have to find out what BB's schedule is when it comes to his trials. Because as we all know, his trials seem to play a role in some of these things. So we're going to find out in the coming, I'm assuming the next hour or two, we should have some sort of, yes, this is it. We've got it, and it's done. At least it's a 10-day. And that's a start in a region that is a nightmare. Earlier today, Pete Hegseth, this has nothing to do with the Bible. Okay? Which was, again, weird. But he went after the press today. And I get some of it, but
I thought it was a very...
You can't go after the press all the time for everything. Because you guys, and this is what I want to know. Do you want to know the truth? Are you willing to listen to the truth? Are you willing to look and say, okay, do I have everything that I need when it comes to, if I'm going to make it a decision or talk about something, am I getting the full story, or am I only going and getting something that affirms my belief? See, I want to know everything. I want to know as much data I can possibly get. And it's not going to be perfect, because let's be real, you may not always get all of the data. Some of it will come in a little bit later. But so today it comes out after the media. And really, it's the press.
Speaking of choosing wisely, a note to the press corps, to the American media. As I just can't help but notice the endless stream of garbage, the relentlessly negative coverage, you cannot resist peddling, despite the historic and important success of this effort and the success of our troops. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what side some of you are actually on. It's incredibly unpatriotic. This same press corps, not this exact same press corps, but at least an older press corps, bent over backwards during the Biden administration to explain away the disastrous and disgraceful Afghanistan withdrawal. You called it the greatest airlift in American history. It's almost like you're cheering only for one side.
First of all, the press doesn't need to be patriotic. You can love your country and tell you the truth. Yes, the establishment, and we've got to stay away. The press doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't. Okay? So you've got establishment media, which is the likes of, your ABCs, NBCs, CBSs, and you've got your the New York Times, you've got your Washington Post. Those people, Then you've got media, which is the CNNs, the Fox, that kind of stuff. Which way do you think Fox goes? Are they 100% tell you everything? No. Newsmax, One American, all of them, they've got the thing. And then you've got CBS right now. Who's running CBS? Bari Weiss, who was brought in by Ellison, who loves Trump, who's throwing a party for Trump. And they're not going to say anything. So I want the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, because we should have it. And you're talking about the press as if you, Pete, aren't controlling the press by making them sign like a pledge before they can even be in there. So you have actual people who are press who aren't in there, but Mike Lindell's company is.
Wasn't that was just ruled unconstitutional, wasn't it?
It was finally ruling. Yeah, we're like, you can't make them, So no, you should want to know the actual truth, and that's what the truth. And we're going to talk about it coming up in a little bit. It's so many people don't want to know the truth. They don't want to actually find out what the truth is because they've built this thing up. This is my identity. This is what I believe. And if you ask me a question about, have you thought about it this way or this, that, and the other, what ends up happening? You've attacked me as an individual.
You got that audio that you sent yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got some neat audio.
That's actually pretty good explanation.
Of because we should all want to know what's going on out there, right? Iran is bad. We get it. Iran is bad. But they're not. The leaders are bad. The leaders are horrible. But the reality is, well, they're going to get a nuclear bomb. I've been told that forever and a day. I was told last year that we destroyed everything when it comes to their nuclear capabilities. Yet within 6-7 months, their nuclear capabilities have magically grown back. And now we're in this position where we're in a war that's costing us God knows how much money and putting our people at risk over what? I'd like to know, I think we all have, it's fine to question and shouldn't lie. And yeah, the press was, whenever I hear anybody on the left go, well, you got to understand something with Biden. Let me tell you something with Biden. They were shills. To this day, we talk about it all the time. When Morning Joe is laid to rest, that should be on his headstone. How great Biden was. Never have I ever. This is the best version of Biden. This is the best version of. He is smart. He's doing calculus in his head. He uses an abacus to do stuff. He juggles, and he rides a unicycle. And did you guys know he speaks Aramaic? You didn't? He learned it yesterday. That was all a lie. That was. We can be honest. I want everybody to be honest. But no longer can you sit there and say, well, the media. No, guess what? The media. Social media is dominated by the right. Dominated by the right. They have more followers, more subscribers. They have a bigger reach. They have bigger stars. Radio's dominated by the right. Print and some old established news, yeah, that's to the left. But not all. New York Post, big. They're not. LA Times has went super neutral. And they got the LA Post, too. You see that? Yeah, they did that. So the New York Post and the LA Post.
They were shills to the point where he didn't even have to do press conferences because he was so bad at them.
Yeah.
He'd end up saying something stupid. And they would simply take any press release that administration put out and treat it as the facts and throw it on the front page or wherever it needed to go. And here's Trump on Fox News right now doing an interview with the press, something the man that Biden was incapable of doing.
Incapable. And they were never curious about it. One guy was curious about it over at Axios, and he pressed over and over again. and he got hammered by everybody. And then he goes out, and next thing you know, he and Jake Tapper writing a book, and he's on all kinds of shows. And he was the only one that seemed to be curious about breaking a story about incapacitation of the President of the United States, which should have been the biggest story. But they were so busy protecting their own. And if you said, well, you're lying, you just don't get it. You don't get it, you don't understand. So both sides have their part to play in this. There's no doubt about that. All right, coming up. Oh, Lord. Hey, did you guys hear about gingers?
They're still bad?
Wait do you hear this story about gingers? All right? Wait do you guys, for all you people out there, ginger haters, you know who you are.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we'll talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson, Super Talk 997. Relief Factor is incredible. I take it every single day, and the more I work out, the better I feel, which is awesome. But, we don't eat well as a nation, and what happens? A lot of that stuff leads to inflammation, especially as we get older, just the aches and pains in our bones and our joints from working out and just living life. It hurts. Relief Factor comes in, naturally formulated. You can take it every single day, and it is awesome. This is what I want you to do. Try Relief Factor. It's a 3-week quick start, less than $20. You're going to feel the difference. And I'm not talking about we talk about here if you got a back problems, you're like, oh, I'm going to have surgery. No, this is just the everyday aches and pains of life. So you feel better, so you can do more, so you can live a better life. That's what this is about with Relief Factor. And it works so much better than I think people realize. Try it for yourself. Just $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com. That's relieffactor.com. Or call 800-4-RELIEF. 800, the number 4-RELIEF for Relief Factor. Wellness Institute in Nashville wants to help you back. Think about this. You got slipped bulging disc, sciatic. You got some issues there. You sit down, you start to twist and turn. You start to feel, oh, goodness me, I'm getting tingles in my toes, my arms. They're going to help you with this. Why is that? Because right now, 47% off. Dr. Mitchell, amazing. It's my doctor. Should be yours. He has got some incredible things, right? So we're talking about spinal decompression, right? So we're not talking about surgery here. And you go see him, and first of all, they're going to give you the x-rays. If you got MRI, bring them. They're going to go over everything you've got going on, get you a plan, and then maybe they say, hey, check out our new HydroWave. We're the only ones in Tennessee that have them. This stimulates your very own stem cells. It helps with the healing process. It is awesome. Stop being in pain and get yourself up and moving. You don't have to live that way. 47% off right now with our friends over at the Wellness Institute in Nashville. Call 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. Check them out online at painisbad.com, painisbad.com.
All right, drivers in Germantown still got Rosa Parks Boulevard closed due to a crash there at Jefferson Street, and in Sumner County, still showing police activity blocking the right lane, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard eastbound before New Shackle Island Road. Tennessee Senate just voted to expand the state's Education Freedom Scholarship Program. That legislation now headed to Governor Lee's desk, and the Wilson County School Board has a big vote today. We'll let you know about that at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, yes. All kinds of things going on here in the great state. A lot of you guys texting in. Problem is, what data do you trust? Somebody's asking me. Cato Institute? You got everything you do. Ken and I talk about this all the time. Everything you do in today's world has to be broken up into 3, 4, 5 different puzzle pieces that you go to and you read and you fill in the blanks to put together whatever thing you're trying to do. Because nobody tells you the entire story. They tell you a little bit of this, and they tell you a little bit of that. And we're going to give our team's side of the story, but we're not going to give you your team's side of the story. And we're going to tell you this, but we're not going to tell you that. And that's the frustrating thing. That is the frustrating thing that we have in today's modern world, because media now goes, okay, my base is this. I'm only going to serve my base. So for that, I have to feed them what they're asking for and affirm their beliefs, because otherwise they get mad. So I'm just going to tell them what they want to hear. And I'm not going to challenge. I'm not going to push back. I'm not going to ask other questions. Then that's the frustrating thing. It would be a lot easier to just go, oh, I'm this. It's in our business, it's just easier to be MAGA. And it's just ways. I'm sorry. That's not, I just want the truth. That's all I care about. Gingers, fellas. I'm telling you guys this right now. Gingers. I'm a ginger. That's probably, what do we say? I have no soul? So you jerk?
No, you're not a ginger.
I'm a ginger.
And you're not anymore. You might have been at one point, but you're not now.
Why? No, that's...
Just take it as a win.
No, it's not a win. Gingers, by the way, we are built to survive.
Well, you have to, because you're God's version of a speed bag.
You know what? That's not very nice. So gingers are built to survive according to new studies that natural selection favors the gingers. Natural selection favors gingers. The science believe it's beneficial and has been beneficial for over 4,000 years. Do you get that? Why is that? Like you said, Bell, it's like being called Sue. Like a boy named Sue.
Right.
You had to learn.
Johnny Cash song.
Yep. So the way they looked at it, 250 archaeologists, anthropologists collaborated, and they got DNA from about 10,000 burial sites across Europe and Asia. And what they found is the gingers, right, were the ones who were the strongest, which we are, because we had to survive. And probably, too, because gingers also happen to live in the worst places. You'd have to be strong. You have to be of good, strong ilk, right? And
so many of you were like burned as witches.
Yeah, that's also true. They said beyond the red hair, natural selection has favored the genes associated with narrow hips and reduced body fat. But the gingers themselves, the strength of them because of where they were and what they had to do, and the fact, like you said, that we had to fight a lot harder for everything else because we have ginger hair. And we were witches? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you were burned as witches. It's like ginger babies. It was like, don't feed that thing. It's a witch.
But the other thing they talked about is we were less susceptible to disease.
And more susceptible to sunburn.
Okay, yeah, that's true. There's no doubt. I could get I get burned by the moon. I mean, the moon's not real, so it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but if it was, I'm just telling you guys.
It's pretty hot when it comes out of the oven.
That's right. The hot tortilla moon?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. So we, gingers, also faster walking speeds based on their genetics. I don't know how they figured that one out. But
because they saw how many people were running after you to beat you up, and they measured the speed you would walk at.
Yeah. See, this all comes from Bell here. You know what Bell was back then? He was friendless.
Back then.
Back then now. Oh, that's true. True. You got cats, and even your cats call me, and I go, this guy sucks. All I have to play video games. That's it. So just to let you know, if you're a ginger out there, we got it going on. Everybody else doesn't. Outside of the whole sun thing. He's right about that. That's not a good, that was God's way of going, okay, I can't give you all the powers. So that, right there.
That's your kryptonite.
That's your kryptonite. So it's always weird. Hey, just out of curiosity about where would one get kryptonite?
I don't know, from a kryptonite meteor.
Is that the only place you can get it?
Yeah, because it's remnants of Krypton, so it would have to travel the millions of light years from Krypton and come down through the atmosphere.
I've often wondered where they got the kryptonite to fight him.
Fight Superman.
Yeah, fight the Superman.
They found it on the ground.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that guy's unstoppable, except for this green thing I found on the ground, which apparently will kill him.
Hit him with that rock.
Yeah,
throw the gun at him after the bullets are empty.
Yeah, do that. If that doesn't work, throw this green thing at him. Kind of like a vampire. Just put the thing up and all's good. All right, coming up, let's talk truth. Got some of your text messages as well. But interesting study. And, somebody asked me, where do you, I study all kinds of stuff. And it depends on what I'm doing that day. If I'm talking immigration, if I'm talking about Iran, if I'm talking about, let's talk about truth, because we've decided truth no longer matters. And that's a scary thing. So we'll talk a bit about that straight ahead. Chad Benson, Super Talk 997.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, the state Senate has voted to expand the state's Education Freedom Scholarship program by about 15,000. The legislation now heads to Governor Bill Lee's desk for his signature. Wilson County School Board expected to vote today on adding more weapon detection systems for schools. Leaders considering the purchase of 4 roving scanners at a cost of nearly $450,000. The devices would be used at both middle and high schools throughout the district. Wilson County already uses similar systems at several campuses, including Barry Tatum Academy. Operation Epic Fury. President Trump says Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire effective today at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Meanwhile, Iran's military says, according to Iranian state TV, that despite the assertions from the U.S. military, its Navy is still intact and that drone production has rapidly increased. Well, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth claiming Iran has been bluffing publicly during this morning news conference today.
You like to say publicly, Iran, that you control the Strait of Hormuz, but you don't have a navy or real domain awareness. You can't control anything.
And earlier today, House Republicans voted to block a war powers resolution meant to curtail U.S. military action against Iran. Actor Val Kilmer may have passed away last year, but a team of directors say with the blessing of his family, he was able to appear in a film thanks to generative AI. We get more from ABC's Sam Champion.
The new trailer for the film As Deep as the Grave, giving viewers their first look at an AI-generated performance from the late star just a year after he passed away at the age of 65, following a long battle with throat cancer. Kilmer's likeness is seen multiple times at different ages. It was created using a state-of-the-art generative AI model after the star was too sick to shoot his role in the movie.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Beacon Capital Management, ready to talk to you about all things when it comes to your retirement, right? You want to live good. You don't want to unretire. Nobody wants to unretire because they have to. Maybe you get bored. You're like, I'm going to live for much longer, and I want to be able to enjoy my life and do some fun stuff. Maybe that you got that project you've always wanted to do in life, and you want to be able to get there, and Beacon can help you with that. Maybe you've got that business you've always dreamed of, but you got to make sure you get to retirement. You got to make sure you're going to have enough money to survive. Beacon can help you with that. Right? We just got through tax season. Maybe you got an extension and you're still looking around, not quite sure what's going on with the one big beautiful bill. Beacon can help you with taxes, estate planning, yes, long-term care as well, which is extremely important when it comes to making sure that, you don't work so hard only to find out that somebody else is going to reap the rewards of that. Call Beacon today. Get a free personalized financial consultation. They're local. Sit down with them. They're amazing people. 615-488-9303, 615-488-9303. Tell them I sent you. And again, they can do so many things that others can't. Maybe you need one of these. Maybe you need a few of these. Beacon can help. 615-488-9303. Online at beaconcm.com. For Beacon Capital Management, this is a paid placement. If you missed any show, we always say shame. Grab the podcast. So you can check out. And make sure you're following us everywhere. You can check me out at Chad Benson Show, which is my Twitter. And you can go to chadbensonshow.com, see all the other stuff going on. We're going to put Bell. That's where we're going to put your shirt that we're doing.
Popin' ain't easy.
Popin' ain't easy.
With the fence digger hat.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because Popin' ain't easy. And we're going to get a shirt for Ken that says, I don't know about this, fellas. But you should know about it.
And a whistle.
And a whistle. Hey, by the way, are we getting close to Little Swamp Ass?
Let's see here. Let me do a refresh.
I think tomorrow is going to be the day, if our first one, potentially.
Let's see. We got 80 degrees today. Humidity's getting up there. It's 47%. But at 80 degrees, I don't know. Now, for those of us who have to work in the environments, it may be.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we've got some potential nastiness later?
Maybe some storms with some gusty wind, but very low risk of anything severe.
I drove in today. I'm like, but I wanted to walk, but I'm like, I know it's going to rain. That's what I said, hon, I said, if it's pouring bad, come get me. But we had a meeting, so I didn't want to get wet or anything. And she goes, now just take the car. And now I'm like, I don't think it's going to rain. It frustrates me. Don't be lying to me.
And remember, people, if you got cats following you around, you got swamp ass.
Yeah, you do. And you don't want that. You don't. I like this one. Nick has one for the shirt. Too pooped to Pope. Poping ain't easy, baby. Poping ain't easy.
You think he makes somebody tape the Cubs games for him?
No, he's a White Sox fan.
I thought it was. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the White Sox games.
So he doesn't watch any baseball.
Yeah. No, he probably. You know what? He probably does. I bet you he does. I bet you he's up. He's up because he gets up probably early in the morning enough to see that maybe catch the end of the White Sox game. You're a fan. You're a fan.
Yeah.
Right? Just because you're the Pope doesn't mean you can't like stuff. So the just spent 2 hours doing yard work. Can report 0 swamp ass.
No cats following you.
No
around?
cats following you whatsoever.
All right.
By the way, the gingers, a lot of people say, what's interesting about the gingers, Chad? What you described sounds very much like a vampire. You don't like the sun.
It's true.
I don't sleep at night. There's a little bit of that. And a lot of speed walkers, too. I was unaware that speed walkers were very ginger-esque.
Plus, you turn into a red bat.
I've never noticed that.
I didn't either. And you know what's weird? We used to have this lady, who we used to call the walking, oh, there's the walker, out when I was growing up in Southern California. And her parents were wealthy. She was their only kid, and she was special. She would just walk, right? Even when she was in her 40s and stuff. And you know what? She had bright red hair. I did, and she would just be walking and just as fast as you possibly can. I didn't notice that we were that way. But we are, kids. We are. No doubt about that.
She was walking away from public acceptance.
That's okay. You know what? You should be. I wish more people would. I see that the Artemis 2 astronauts are holding a news conference. And you know what's pissing me off most about that? I see tons of empty chairs at the news conference. There shouldn't be any. That place should be packed.
Yeah, the seat reserved for News Nation's empty.
Yeah. No, I wonder why that is. Somebody said sleep, try a redhead, and perimenopause. No, my wife's gone through. That's not fun. Everything's my fault.
Your wife's luckily not a redhead, though.
Yeah, but everything's always your fault. No matter what.
I think that's just being a woman, isn't it?
What would be the first question you asked the lady on the that came back from
Did
Artemis?
you see anything you can't explain?
How many sandwiches did you fix while you were up there?
Just wanted to make sure that Bell was going to get in his sexism.
Yeah.
Did you serve the men in their needs?
Were you subservient?
The way you should be. Lordy, lordy, lordy.
You don't ever see gingers on the space shuttle, and you don't see gingers on the Artemis.
You don't want to know why? Because we survive. We survive.
So you're saying NASA wants people to die?
By the way, that guy, is his name Glover?
Victor Glover.
He was in. He did a couple episodes of Fallout, the TV show.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, I think so. My wife was telling me. Now, she could be lying to me because that's what she does. But I'm like, I think, but I think it's true. Yeah, he was in Fallout.
Well, I'll be.
Yeah, he did. Or one of those kind of shows, something like that. One of those kind of things. I don't know if it was Fallout or something. He was in some. But again, I watched. It's another one of my shows I loved, and I got halfway through, and I'm like, I just stopped watching it. It's like From. I love that TV show From. Have you seen that? You guys got to watch that.
Yeah, my wife is watching it. She likes it.
That show is amazing. If you guys have never seen From, it's this town where your car breaks down and you can never leave. And magically food shows up, and at night everybody's got to be in. Doors are locked. Because there is vampire zombies that come and get you.
Or as we like to call them, gingers. The gaggle machine's not saying anything about any dramatic or scripted TV appearances. It's just docuseries and things like that.
Maybe that's what it was. He was in something. But you know what? He seems to be the coolest of them. And this is Jeremy Hansen. He's a Canadian. And so should they even be asking him questions? Do you even understand English?
He should just go back to Canada because we don't need Canadians.
Yeah. You know what? We've put you, Bella's put you, you should be making sandwiches for her.
Well, I don't know about that.
I do like the fact that you would ask about the aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Because
absolutely
yesterday, Ducey asked about the 10th scientist that's now gone.
Yeah, Trump was asked about that in this gaggle he just held and said there's going to be something coming out very soon.
He says that.
He says that a lot.
He does. He's always saying that. So this guy, Garcia, he worked for, it was weird, it's like the Kansas City nuclear whatever, but it was in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. He left the house, took a gun, and that was it. Left everything else. Kind of like McClaskey did, just disappeared. And now they've got 3 confirmed dead and 7 that are missing.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Look, some of them a coincidence? Yes. But 10 of them that kind of all worked in and around the same kind of stuff?
Yeah.
That's hard for me to believe. That is. That's hard for me to buy all of those people, especially with when you start going through, you start connecting some of the dots, including a NASA scientist, gone. And you're just like, wait? And the way that some of them died and how they disappeared too. Like the last time we saw her, she was just walking on the side of the road and no suitcase, no nothing. There's her car down the road. She just got out and started to walk and then wandered into the desert. You don't find that weird? Just a smidge. It's a smidge. So I hope we find, I know Trump keeps saying that, but what do you think would happen? Let's be real. So let's say tomorrow we come out and we say, all right, here's the deal, guys. There are other beings. They are real. You may have to suspend your disbelief on, on how we view time comparatively to how they view time or whatever it is. But yes, the question has been answered. We are not alone. How do you think the world would react?
Well, media would go wall to wall with that coverage. That would be the only thing you would see in the news. That's going to be the top story of, history of the world.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
That would stop everything.
Everything. But like, how would religion try to wrap their head around it? How would, like you said, that's not the top story for the day. That's the top story for forever.
Yeah.
So how would we wrap our heads around that? And how would people react? That's the other side of it. Because I've always felt that the reason that maybe they haven't always told us, some of it is probably because of secrets and we're using some of this stuff to blow up other countries or whatever. But I also always thought, you go, okay, people are stupid. People are going to overreact and they're going to lose their mind. And my God, we had a respiratory pandemic and everybody bought toilet paper. What are they going to buy for this?
Processed cheese slices. That's my gamble right there.
That's your gamble. That's what you're going with?
Processed cheese slices.
Yeah, Caroline Levitt says they're going to review it. They're going to review it, boys.
They are. I don't know about this, fellas.
Now, what does that mean? They're going to review it.
Well, I think she's trying to think, now that enough people are going, hey, there are 10 people that are missing that worked in nuclear secrets and or propulsion and or with NASA, that we're all looking in some way, shape, or form at something that potentially dealt with otherworldly things, and now they're gone. So people have questions.
Yeah, well, all 10 people have work connections, so there's something statistically off about that in itself.
Yeah. Like if you worked in an industry where a whole bunch of people died or disappeared or walked off into the wilderness and were never to be heard from again, I think you'd have some questions. Hey, is that going to happen to all of us? or was it just that guy? Was he drinking a lot? Do we know anything about him? I mean, those are, that's a.
Wouldn't surprise me to find out Guthrie's mom was working on this same project.
Oh, yeah. How about that? Oh, that's why we're really not finding out as much as we can. Somebody finally said, shh, 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 shh. Can't know about Guthrie. Coming up, we're talking a little bit about the AI, and we're going to do the truth thing because I got some other stuff I want to pull over for it to stop in next hour. If you miss any of the show, you reach out to us across all of our social media, again, at Chad Benson Show for me. And on top of that, like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. Plus, we got an announcement coming up in a little bit, too. So be prepared for that. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 997. Omaha Steaks delivered right to you in a way that is delicious. You don't have to go anywhere. It's the beauty of that. 100% unconditional money back guarantee. So you go to the store and you pay a lot more than you should. Omaha Steaks has it beat. They've got everything you need when it comes to the best in protein. None of that crap in it. It is awesome. They got Wagyu burgers, which are amazing. Smash Wagyu burgers. They've got incredible things like butcher cut filet mignons wrapped in bacon. They've got sliced ribeye Philly cheesesteaks. They got everything. They've got comfort food at a price that's not going to break the bank, and you can save an extra $35 off when you use my code Benson when you check out. So BENSON, you can save an extra $35 off. So think about it. Money back guarantee. You're not happy, send it back. America's Butcher since 1917. USDA certified tender. And you can put together your own if you just want burgers. They've got right now an amazing package, well under $100, that includes things like filet mignon burgers, New York strip burgers, ribeye burgers, brisket burgers, sirloin burgers, Omaha steak seasoning, which is incredible. And yes, 8 private reserve Wagyu smash burgers. Burger-tacular is what I'm saying. One of many that you can get right now. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use my code Benson. omahasteaks.com, code Benson. When you do, save an extra $35 off at checkout. omahasteaks.com, code Benson. See site for detailed terms may apply.
School vouchers are expanding in Tennessee. This story and more coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
As we were talking about aliens, I'm like, check this out, Ken. This may be the worst take you're ever going to hear about aliens. This is from Newsmax. I think his name is Rob Finnerty. I don't know how to watch Newsmax. If they all came in here right now, I believe.
Finnerty would probably be a ginger, right?
No.
Irish?
I don't think so.
Probably a ginger.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's it. Remember, it could be a fake name. Could be a fake name. But this is about, and this is, it's just really, this is about the gender of aliens.
Whether you believe in them or not, everybody has heard about beings from another planet, and the descriptions are almost always the same. They're smaller, big eyes, big heads, weak, stringy little arms, pale, no gender, and usually they're feminine. And they always look the same. You never have seen an alien peeing standing up in a movie or like yucking it up with his alien buddies. That's never happened. And for some reason, the lines between gender are always blurred with aliens, which I think is very odd. And then you think about what's happening here back on Earth right now on the left, where masculinity is being erased.
So they look, first of all, I look at them and they look weird. They don't look like they have male parts. They look kind of weak, except for the part where they can look at you and snap your neck.
Yeah.
He went there. That was his hot take. They're feminine.
It sounded like he was leading into they're from the future because we're all becoming more effeminate and we're going to look like this in 1,000 years because we're not real men.
We're going to look that way because of the internet and us staring at our phones all day. Maybe that's what happened to them. Maybe they got phones like 50 million years ago.
I have to look at my phone constantly to find out if we announce there's aliens.
It's coming, though. It's coming. It's very much coming. But I'm just, that was that guy's take as well. The gender. You can already tell the issues with the gender. So in the future, apparently, we're all going to be genderless. Wait, what?
So what bathroom do I use?
There is no bathrooms. I don't even have to go to the bathroom.
What if I need to brush my hair?
You have no hair because you're
Stop it! You're hurting me.
You look like Roger the alien. He has no hair. Or Groger. I can't even believe that guy said that. I would have been like, I have to go. You, sir, need help.
Grogu will grow hair because Yoda did.
They're already turning the alien arrival into a cultural battle. Culture wars. Oh, Lord. Coming up, we are going to talk truth. Are you ready for the truth? Can you handle the truth? Does truth scare you? Are you biased about something you heard and you're never going to change your mind? We will talk about that. Chad Ben Show, Super Talk 997.
2 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. School vouchers expanding in Tennessee. After approval by the state Senate, the chamber voted along party lines to add 15,000 new vouchers for private education. Opponents warned of reduced funding for public schools, while supporters called it a win for school choice. Governor Bill Lee expected to sign the bill, clearing the way for changes next school year. Wilson County School Board members, they'll decide today whether to invest in additional school security technology. The proposal would add 4 mobile weapon detection systems costing nearly $450,000. District officials say the scanners would rotate between middle and high schools instead of staying at one location. Similar systems already in use at select Wilson County schools. President Trump announcing on social media that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire that is effective today at 4 o'clock, Middle Tennessee time. It'll be midnight in Beirut. As for U.S. talks with Iran, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth had this warning to the Iranians during a morning news conference.
We'd prefer to do it the nice way, through a deal led by our great vice president and negotiating team, or we can do it the hard way.
And House Republicans earlier today blocked a war powers resolution that was meant to curtail U.S. military action against Iran. A federal jury in New York finds that Live Nation and its subsidiary Ticketmaster hold an anti-competitive monopoly over large venues. But Dr. Shubha Ghosh with Syracuse Law School disagrees with those attorneys who say it's going to lead to cheaper ticket prices.
It may have a marginal effect on ticket prices in the long run for many reasons, one of which is the one that the CEO of Live Nation alluded to. People are willing to pay a lot of money for these tickets. There may be other sources of monopoly power, such as with venues.
Fewer Americans filing for state unemployment benefits last week than the week before. Weekly jobless filings considered a reflection of layoff activity and therefore stability in the employment market. In the week ending April 11, 207,000 applications for state benefits were filed, a decline of 11,000. Last week's figure came in considerably higher than analysts were anticipating. And big changes are coming to a gaming platform that boasts over 150 million players every day. ABC's Jim Ryan says it took the threat of a lawsuit to get Roblox to tighten up protections for its youngest users.
The state of Nevada had threatened to sue, saying Roblox had become a prime hunting ground for child predators. Attorney General Aaron Ford says Roblox has now settled.
A part of this agreement, all users must undergo age verification to ensure children only have access to age-appropriate content on the Roblox platform.
The company also will fund an in-house law enforcement liaison to respond to safety concerns related to the gaming platform. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
What's up? Portion of the program is brought to you by NCA National Certified Alarm. The long-term contracts. License number 645. A lot of you chiming in about aliens. They want to know, what do you think aliens feel about weed?
I'm sure they're fine with it.
Probably.
If they don't want to smoke it, they don't. And if they do, they do.
Yeah. They're probably like, you guys are having this discussion?
I mean, this is a really stupid thing to talk about.
Very stupid thing to talk about. So, but we were asking the question earlier. Feel free to chime in on the text line. Give out the number, Bill.
615-737-9986, or for the numerically challenge, it's WWTN.
There you go. Simple and easy to do. Feel free. Let us know. What do you think would happen to humanity? How would we react? And how would you react if they came out and said, aliens are real? Would you want to know that? Would you want to know the truth? Truth is an interesting thing. Not everybody wants to know the truth. And some of that's just based on kind of this, our brain protects itself in a way where, you know, if it's unfamiliar, if it's one of these things, it goes against it. We don't want to hear it. It's going to upset us. And I don't, I love the truth. And not everybody does. And I like, there's always two sides to the story, right? There's the right, wrong. No, I mean, so much. And we always talk about nuance is completely lost in society today. Completely lost. Like nobody, it's either this or that, and that's it. And we don't talk to each other. We talk over each other. And we've gotten to the point where, it's not good. We've got politicians who love the algorithms that divide us, and they use them. We've got big business who loves the algorithms that divide us. And what's that old saying is, as long as they're fighting with each other, they're not coming over the wall, says the king. So, and I care about truth. I don't care, even if it's, I was wrong. And you have to always put it in context too. So you might not always have the data. You've got 75% of the data, and some other data comes later. And you're like, okay. But too often than not, we aren't fans of the truth if it goes against our beliefs, because now we have done something where we have tied our belief in politics and science, whatever it is, into this is the truth. And because of that, and I believe it, this is also who I am.
People were executed for saying that the earth revolved around the sun.
Yes.
I mean, that the sun revolved around the earth. People were literally convicted of treason and executed.
Well, we're talking.
I'm not surprised.
There are people that believe the earth is flat.
Yep.
And that has become their identity.
And we laugh at those people, rightfully so.
Yeah. We laugh at them. We think they're idiots. We think they're, what? And no matter what you do, for some people, they're never, ever, ever, ever going to believe. You could take them on the Artemis 3, fly them around, put them on the moon, and they're going to say, I was dreaming.
We didn't actually circle the place. We just flew around the perimeter.
Yes.
Where all the ice is.
Yeah, so I've seen this movie. I know what this is about. You guys have drugged me up. This is not real.
This is another CIA psyop.
Oh, yeah. MK Ultra 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's what this is. So, but I'm always like, whenever we get into stuff, politics, whatever it is, my goal is to give you the full, I don't have to, by the way. You know how easier it would be for me if I just come on and shouted, Trump's the greatest thing of all time, because that's what everybody expects. But I would like to know exactly what are we talking about? What does it really look like? Give me the whole perspective of everything. Give me all the data. Don't just tell me, I read this, or I saw this on Fox, or I read this on whatever, and it has to be real. Because that's not good. And don't tell me Trump's the devil and he did this. Well, is it true? Is it not true? I want to know. whatever it is. And most people don't. And they've been studying this for quite a while. First of all, there are several things out there that, we have this confirmation bias. Everybody knows what confirmation bias is. So confirmation bias, it's like once we believe something to be true, we're only looking to affirm our beliefs. That's it. We're only looking to affirm our beliefs. And they've done a whole bunch of, there's the illusionary truth effect, which is a big deal. Anchoring bias, massive studies that came out in the 70s. Primary effect in social psychology, Solomon, I think his name is Ash. I might be wrong about that. But all of these things that we look at, and when they do study after study of why we do these things. Why do we, we'll hear something, and it's the first thing we hear about it, and we just take it to be true. We never go, maybe that's true, or maybe it's not. And the more and more studies are done, the more we're starting to realize why we do those things.
Most people don't actually want the truth. They want to be right. And if the truth gets in the way of being right, their minds will do something odd. They will lock down. And according to the philosopher Chris Renali, when this happens, we should start to call it indoctrination.
Mm-hmm. Because if you can't, just like we were talking about the earth, flat. Now, we don't need to burn them at the stake because they're flat. They think it's flat. But it's indoctrination at this point. They're only looking at it. They're trying, everything they come to do is try to disprove something that has been proven a bazillion times over and over again. And now you're at the point where, you've indoctrinated yourself and you will not listen to reason. And that's a scary thing to be. A person who is what? Unreasonable and thinks the earth's flat. Looks like a tortilla.
In his work on social epistemology, Renali argues that indoctrination isn't just about what you believe, but how that belief is sealed off from the rest of the world. It's a psychological cage where the door in and out stays barred.
Which is not. And that's where coming into something and having a fresh perspective, saying, all right, I want to know everything. I want to look at it, because if it's barred and you can't get anything in, you're not going to get anything out. You're going to go into your hole and you're going to sit there and you're going to be terrified to learn anything new. And a lot of times what happens is it has to be an event that changes your mind, that affects you personally. And then you're like, okay, I see now. I see what's going on now.
Renali points out that indoctrination works by preemptively dismissing any counter-evidence that may come along. So if somebody does offer a contrary opinion, you do not see it as a reason to change your mind. Instead, you have been trained to view it as a test of faith or as propaganda from an enemy. The indoctrinated person is not necessarily any less intelligent than anybody else, but they are just constantly at war, and they've come to see doubt as a danger.
And that's part of the part where we protect our brain, because in a very weird way, it's a survival mode. We don't want to be mad. We don't want the tribe mad at us. We don't want the tribe to kick us out. And the tribe is every once in a while going to test our purity to make sure that we're absolutely perfect in our belief system.
As Renali put it, indoctrination has a kind of defense mechanism where any contrary view is considered to be irrational or even immoral. Renali argues that the way to resolve indoctrination is not to challenge someone or besiege their locked-down fortress, but to offer them an off-ramp. We need to make the indoctrinated person feel safe and secure enough to doubt. Because doubting makes you vulnerable. Doubting is scary. We need to create the space where doubting is seen as okay.
By the way, I've got his study. Or not his paper, and it's interesting, and it cites a gazillion other papers that are out there and goes through stuff. But one of the other things that he doesn't bring up that also has to, in today's modern society, and he, by the way, he's young. He's a professor. He's younger than me. He's like 21. I'm what, 24? Is that what I am? Something like that. Is that what it is? 20. I might turn 25 this year. That's right.
Stop lying.
Okay.
Everybody knows you're 38.
Okay.
You don't look a day over 23.
I know. I appreciate that. The other day I took Ken and we were going to go out to a club, and they're like, "You can't. That guy can't come out. Is he 8?" So, hell yeah, big time. But we are also at the point now where we have pitted ourselves in such a way against each other that, let's say you hate Trump, but then you look and you say, I don't really hate him. I like some of his ideas, but you wouldn't tell your friends that. right? Because they'd be mad at you. And, and if you love Trump, but then you're like, you know what, I'm not buying any of this crap anymore. I think he's lied to me. I want out of this. I think MAGA's baloney. The other side, all they want to do is tell you how wrong you are and how bad you are. So then you're caught between, do I believe in something, pretending to believe in something that I no longer believe in, out of fear that I'm going to be ostracized by this group that I once were my friends, and the other side's not going to accept me. So it's this weird world, but that truth should be the only thing that matters. And we should want to know the whole story. It's like when we talk about Iran. What do we always hear? They were close to getting a nuclear weapon. They chant death to America. And since 1979, this is what they've been like. I said, well, okay, how far do we go back? Do we start at 1979? Well, yeah, that's where we start. Okay, so we don't start where we helped overthrow their duly elected president. We don't start there. We don't start there. No, we don't start there. So, okay, so do we start and ask the question about so you think they're going to get nuclear weapons, they're going to do all these things. They haven't yet. And trust me, they could have 100 times over, long before, Obama put in that first deal. They could have gotten him. So where do we go from here? I just want to know, I want to find out what's the psychology of what's going on in Iran. What did the average person think? Well, they all hate us. No, they don't. They don't all hate us. Well, they're all living in, they live in caves. No, they don't. Tehran's a thriving city that if it wasn't for the sanctions, it would look far more like Barcelona than, and it still looks very modern. But we don't want to know those things because we want to see them as enemies. And I believe this. And so because of that, truth, this is the only truth I need. And both sides live in a post-truth world. The left who can tell you, oh, of course she's got a penis. What? No. Well, you just don't get it. Women are as strong as men. No, they're not. That's not that. We're not pretending here that that's real. That's not real. That's like saying, yes, I'm the same height as Shaquille O'Neal. That is not, none of that is true. It isn't. And no matter how much I say it, doesn't make it so. So, yeah, we should all want to learn more about the truth. But we don't. And it's a scary thing because we've got better access to stuff than we've ever had in our lives, information. And that's why, like I say, Ken and I get frustrated because you have to go to 12 different things to find the truth. And when I do my stuff, I go to studies. Do you know how dry and boring studies are? Do you know how boring they are? But I want to find out, what's the data really say? How much of this is real? How much of this is fake? How many people have been convicted of this for real? And what we find is, and I find this in my industry, right? We talk about voter fraud. And then when you point out the voter fraud, there's virtually none. Zero, zilch. Virtually none. What happens? You just don't get it. You're a fool. You're a liar. That's not true. They tell me it is. When you talk about cops shooting unarmed black men, and then it's pointed out that rarely ever happens and it happens more to whites, that people are, oh, no, that can't be true. Again, you've got your bias, you got your beliefs, you don't want to hear anything else. And that's a shame because we should all want more truth. All right, coming up, Val Kilmer, speaking of truth, this isn't true. I've seen the trailer. The movie looks really cool. I'm not going to lie to you.
What's it about?
It's a Western. And it's not like an action Western. It's more like a drawn out kind of like Western about
so it's not Tombstone.
No, it's not a Tombstone thing. The thing and they're taking somebody somewhere, and he didn't look. He looked a lot more like young Val Kilmer, so it made it look weird. If that makes sense.
Did it seem to mesh well? Did the producers do a good job of fitting it into the scene?
Some of them, it looks really cool, and in other parts, it looks like it was photoshopped. If that makes sense. So we'll talk about that, among other things. Straight ahead, Chad Benso, Super Talk 997. All right, guys, let's talk about Board Capital. How are you doing? Are you guys up 67-ish% from January of last year? Have you thought, that'd be nice? Are you beating the market? Are you positioned globally rather than just in the market here, being, put into stuff that may be at the bubble? Talk to my friends over at Board Capital. They're going to give you a free risk review. They'll go through your entire portfolio, show you what things are going on there, talk about what they do, lower risk, lower cost, lower volatility, and how they can give you the most upside potential. How they do what they do is active traders looking globally. And it's more of a, I just tell everybody, it's not like you're going to get stuck in some mutual funds and away you go. It's not that. They do it in a much different way. And it's always good to have another, set of eyeballs, a different perspective. So this is what I want you to do. Go to knowyourriskpodcast.com, KNOWriskpodcast.com. You can sign up for their alerts they get, and they also have a podcast where they do like 15 minutes a day of kind of a recap in the market. Find out what they can do for you. It's absolutely free. That's knowyourriskpodcast.com, or look them up online as well at bulwarkcapitalmanagement.com. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. Investors involve risk, not a guarantee. Past performance, not guarantee future results. Trek 2647.
All right, drivers, we've got a crash on the right shoulder. It is 440 westbound at Nolensville Pike, and Amazon is facing a class action lawsuit. We'll tell you what they're accused of coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Da-da.
Amazon's being naughty again.
Naughty.
I was going to say, how many class action lawsuits has Amazon faced, I wonder?
I bet if you went to Amazon, the headquarters, the biggest area wouldn't be like the accountants. It wouldn't be. It would be all of the lawyers.
It's legal.
Legal. When I was in Southern California, there's this amazing building that is one of the big pharma companies. And my friend worked next door to him. And I said, man, so is that where they do R&D? And they go, no, that's just all their legal. And I'm like, oh, yeah. For every one person that's working R&D, there's about 10 people who are working to protect their ass.
Right.
Ooh. So Val Kilmer's in a new movie, even though he's passed away.
It's weird.
It is weird. Okay, so I saw the trailer, and it is weird. So the movie itself this was his baby, and they were supposed to, COVID stopped it from being shot. This was like his passion project. And the family really, really, really wanted them to finish this movie because they had done some of it.
Yeah.
But Val was too sick to do it, obviously. And it is I wasn't impressed. And I think part of the reason is because the last time we saw Val Kilmer, he didn't look like Val Kilmer from, and then you go back and he's a younger Val Kilmer. And I think that's also part of the problem is in our mind, when you see somebody that goes back to, like if you ever seen a movie and they have a younger version of them, it looks weird. So this does look kind of weird. So it's like a thriller. He plays like this father, and it's kind of like this thriller back in like the 20s, the 1920s, not our 20s. And I wasn't thrilled by his voice either. I didn't think his voice sounded all that great.
One last thing. Who's the better pilot? You or me?
So you hear that, and you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. But then when you hear this, even though that was him in his last things with his, you can hear that.
Cancer. Kilmer's likeness is seen multiple times at different ages. It was created using a state-of-the-art generative AI model after the star was too sick to shoot his role in the movie.
And the different ages is one thing, but when you see him from like when he's on the horse or he's standing, it looks really good. But when he delivers like this one like line in the trailer, it doesn't really sound like him, and it looks almost like his head's not quite centered right. So, but you're going to get more of this, Are you ready for a Bruce Lee movie?
It sounds like laziness in the there's so many CGI effects that you can look at and go, man, did not take their time with that. It just looks like crap. And it seems like you're just as capable of making those mistakes or running out of money doing it with AI for a movie.
Yeah. And AI, by the way, AI, guys, is not just here. It is the other day. Did you see this? And here's something for you, Belle. Marvel laid off every one of their CGI people, 1,000 of them. Disney said, gone.
So that would have been their entire video department of Skywalker Ranch. Yeah,
and the reason they're doing all of that, because they've got AI companies now that could do it at a quarter of the price. A $500 million movie, we can do that. We can do it great for $70 million. You can do it cheap for $7 million, and it's still going to look good. Or you can do it for $500 million. So AI is not going anywhere, and you're going to find more of this. And again, this was a special thing because he was already in the midst of it. They had raised money for it. This was kind of his passion project. I want to see who's the first one that's not a passion project that somebody says, okay, let's do this. What about music? Then Queen sold everything, right? And Kiss.
Yes.
So they can produce a new album with the likeness.
Yeah, they sold the entirety of the Kiss brand to Pop House, which is the company that Bjorn from ABBA co-owns, that put together the Avatars.
The
concert.
Avatars?
Yeah, they're called the Avatars concert in London. And Queen also sold everything from the brand up. So Pop House can make in fact, Pop House is in the process of working on a traveling Kiss concert of them digitally.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
And they'll probably end up doing the same thing with Queen and Freddie.
I want to see if they're going to try to do another Queen. Could they do another Queen? I don't know if they would. Album with the guys saying, okay, we'll help you write and do the whole thing, and you guys can own it, and we'll have somebody who can Freddie it up.
I don't know. I wouldn't put that past Brian, but he also Roger would have to agree to it, and John would have to agree to it because John still owns his portion of the company. I don't know if John would say okay to that.
You got to find John first, right? Isn't he hidden?
Well,
he lives next door to Enya. They don't come out of their houses.
I mean, he still lives in the same place he always has, but they just don't. He only talks to him through the lawyers. But John has been extraordinarily defensive of anything involving the use of Freddie's likeness or his voice.
Because he loved Freddie. Freddie and him were
Yeah,
like-
he and Freddie, he kind of lost himself when Freddie died.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting if somebody put Bon Scott on Back in Black.
Oh, that'd be good. I'll work on that tonight.
That would be pretty interesting to hear.
Because, I mean, for me, and I don't know if it's true or not, I've always wondered if some of Back in Black wasn't kind of influenced by Bon or maybe written by Bon, because the lyrics in Back in Black are very Bon Scottish, if you ask me, compared to later AC/DC.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll see. I'll see tonight how close I get to Bon Scott, and we'll do it Back in Black.
That'd be interesting.
We might do some of that stuff for a little Friday fun. All right, coming up, we got some more on Iran. We got more on all kinds of good stuff. We got some of your text messages as well. Check out us across all of our social media. Check me out, ChadBensonShow.com, and, of course, at Chad Benson Show on the X. This is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Amazon facing a class action lawsuit accusing the company of deliberately slowing or disabling older Fire TV sticks. The lawsuit claims Amazon cut off key software support, making first and second generation devices nearly unusable. Plaintiffs say customers were not warned this could happen, and the suit argues the move pushed users to buy newer models. Right now in Tennessee, the state Senate's approved an expansion of the state school voucher program. Senators voting 18-14 to add 15,000 new education freedom scholarships, bringing the statewide total to 35,000. The vote followed hours of debate over cost, transparency, and impacts on public schools. The bill now heads to Governor Bill Lee, who is expected to sign it into law. Operation Epic Fury. President Trump announcing on social media that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire effective today at 4 o'clock Middle Tennessee time. Meanwhile, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth had this warning to the Iranians during a morning news conference.
While you are digging out, which is exactly what you're doing, digging out of bombed out and devastated facilities, we are only getting stronger.
House Republicans earlier today blocked a war powers resolution meant to curtail U.S. military action against Iran. And back here in Middle Tennessee, a vote is scheduled today that could expand weapon detection across Wilson County schools. Board members considering the purchase of 4 roving scanning systems for nearly $450,000. The systems would be shared among middle and high schools in the district. School leaders say weapon detectors are already in place at several campuses in Wilson County. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling presents the Spring Breathe Easy package. Designed to help homeowners do what? Clear out the dust, the allergens, the pet dander, all that stuff before summer gets here. And it's a powerful package. So it's an AC tune-up, right? So it's all about indoor air quality check. That's what you can get. Make sure your family is doing what? Breathing easy. You don't want any of that dander, any of that nastiness that's out there that gives you the allergies and makes you feel horrible. They're gonna give you a duct inspection, premium air duct cleaning, remove all the buildup debris hidden inside there for months and months. And oh gosh, we've gone through it. Plus, you can get a whole home germicidal system that's going to reduce the airborne contaminants. Premium service as well. You're going to get a bonus unit fog deodorizer. that's going to leave your room and your house smelling fresh and clean, like spring itself. That's what I want you to do. It's $11.99, 1.5 to 3-ton systems, regularly $1,800, or $15.99, 3.5, 5-ton units, regularly $2,100. Call Busy Bee today, 615-775-7833, or visit them online at busybeehvac.com today. This is interesting. We had a libertarian. Somebody says, hey, guys, I'm a libertarian. Should the government allow me to cook meth in my own house and sell it to my friends? I don't care. Here's my thing.
Do whatever you want, man.
That's it. But yeah, nobody wants you to blow up. We don't care if you blow up, but you know, people walking by don't want to be blown up.
Yeah, it depends. Is it a single family unit, or are you in an apartment complex or a duplex?
Yeah.
Well, and that goes back to the very core of the libertarian philosophy: is you don't get to hurt other people.
Yeah.
If you want to cook meth in your house, I have no issue with that. If you want to use it yourself, that's fine. But you don't get to put somebody else in danger while you're taking an action.
Yeah.
But if there is no danger, knock yourself out.
And that's because, I don't know if you're aware of this, that stuff's pretty combustible.
Yeah.
Many a redneck has died while cooking their meth.
Yeah.
It'll blow up real good.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be fair, again, that, a kid's outside playing, basketball with their friends and you blow your house up and it kills them. That's not libertarian-like.
Yeah, and if you're high on meth and you go get in your car and drive and slam into somebody else and kill them, you have violated the non-aggression principle. You do not get to hurt other people or take their stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Man, it's just, you guys get that, right?
It's an interesting question.
Like, if you're an adult, you should be allowed to do whatever you want inside your home if you're not hurting anybody. But if there is a chance that your situation that you want to do may have consequences by hurting people, then no.
Yeah, the fumes alone can hurt people.
Yeah. You don't want that.
Yeah, but that's the best buzz.
Yeah, but you know what? You think it is, right? You think it's the best buzz. The problem is you don't know. You're doing something. You're not good at mixing, right? You're using bleach.
Hey. You don't criticize me on my mixing, mister.
See? Oh, Sandra said, but meth causes chemical contamination. That's the other thing. You're hurting the environment. You're hurting other people's name. Once again, personal responsibility. I don't care if you want to go out and do heroin in the woods by yourself, grow mushrooms and marijuana, and if you're not killing or hurting anybody else, you should be allowed to do whatever. Right there, that's fine for you. It's if you cross that line where you are impeding on somebody else's rights. That's the issue that we should all be worried about. Meth. That's a good question, though, right? It is.
I find it, I think it might be kind of tongue-in-cheek.
I know it is. I know.
But yeah, that's...
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Meth. Can meth operate wood chippers?
Meth heads.
No, but they will take them apart. So you should always...
And put them back together.
But not right. There'll be more parts and none of them will ever work again. But the good news is nobody fell into it.
Right.
That's why when you're on the weed, you have to start the wood chipper first.
Yes.
Then get high, then fall into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're not even going to fall. At that point, you're going to run as fast as you possibly can because you're
true.
invincible.
10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They also ask, should they be able to grow their own weed and sell it to their friends? First of all, what are you selling to your friends for?
Keep it for yourself.
Yeah. Secondly, come on.
If they're your friends, give it to them.
Yeah. I mean, you're not doing a giant grow, right? You got a few plants. Come on over. Everybody, we're going to hang out.
Trying to make a living here. No, you're not. You're trying to get high, and you're bogarting it away from your friends.
Yeah, don't bogart it. You don't want to. Don't bogart that joint. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. Somebody said we're hard on the hillbillies. Listen, I'm not hard on the hillbillies.
They're hard on the raccoons.
They are hard on the raccoons because we found out earlier that apparently that's where the raccoon grundle is where you get your, was it a hillbilly toothpick? Which somebody had to come up with that. Hey, speaking of raccoons, are raccoons going to be semi-legal-ish or whatever?
I believe so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, did he sign the bill yet?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty much said he's going to sign it, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. We'll have to get that from Brother Murphy.
Yeah, I'm going to ask
when
him
he gets
because
in
I'm
here.
curious about that.
You going to get one, Brother Chad?
I've thought about a raccoon, but, I really want a capybara.
Yeah.
I'd like a couple of them.
Definitely.
And that's kind of that's where we're going.
You can have both if you want.
You know what? I can. Here's the thing. Capybaras, though, because I think you get two of them, and they're just pals.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the capybara and the dogs. I'm worried about the raccoon and the dogs.
Yeah.
Because I think the raccoon would squabble with the dogs and whoop their butts. Red would love the raccoon, but
Bowie would not.
Bowie would not. Because Bowie wants to fight everything and anything all the time, every day. If you're in the apartment 6 stories above and you're coming down to go to your car, he sees you, it's on.
Well, I think Bowie would learn his lesson after a couple attempts, don't you?
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you get them young enough, and they're so you get a baby, a kit, I think they would learn to be cool with it. But the problem with Bowie is he's going to be mad because they've got hands, and Bowie really wants hands. He wants to jump like the cat, and he wants hands.
We had a feral cat that used to live outside that my downstairs neighbor would feed. And one night I was walking in and it was kind of dark. And I look over at the side where the cat's food bowl usually is. And there's a damn raccoon in there scooping up the food with his hands and running off on 2 feet.
And they're becoming domesticated. And science, they're looking at it saying their snouts are becoming shorter, which means they're becoming cuter. They're looking less menacing. And the way that they use their hands is a way that is becoming friendly to us. And the other thing is, like, the ocelot is becoming very domesticated as well. That's a cat I would get if I was going to get one, an ocelot.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
Yeah, they're pretty. But I've thought about getting a raccoon. But see, if I get a raccoon, the problem is raccoon's kind of a full-time job compared to capybaras. Because it's like having a monkey, kind of, because it's got fingers. right? Hands change everything.
Yes, they
in the world of pet.
Yeah, they're only pseudo thumbs, but they still work like them.
So Sally would like to train a raccoon to open beer bottles. It's not a bad thing to do, Sally.
It sounds like an efficient use of time to me.
I think so too.
Sally cracks me
Sally's
up,
just
man.
she's done. She's like, go get me a beer.
Get over here, you little bandit. Open this thing up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What we call it? Bandit. That's a good one. Hamburglar. This is my pet raccoon. His name's Hamburglar. Oh, goodness me. Hey, I was watching something last night. I watched this guy. He's hilarious. I will send him to you. But he was talking about, first he was talking about Grimace and the strange origins of, first of all, the Hamburglar and Grimace. Because Grimace, they try to make it out to be a taste bud, which is weird. But really, he was just the first glimpses you get of him. He's this deranged thing that lives in a cave and drinks shakes. Right? And then he talks about the Hamburglar that apparently wants to eat the mayor's head. But
well, isn't Grimace supposed to be gay, too, because he's purple?
Oh, this is like Barney.
Yeah.
I love you guys. But then he got onto the Stay Puff. No, not Stay Puff, but the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh,
do you know that he's got a family?
Who?
The Pillsbury Doughboy. He's got a wife and he's got kids.
Oh, yeah. They've used them in commercials before.
And they live in a house, by the way, that's made of, they put it on Zillow, a Pillsbury dough house, which is made of dough, which is, as he reminds everybody, which is skin of the Pillsbury dough people. They're murderers. And they have an oven where they make stuff out of dough, so they're cannibals.
Sorry, if you taste good enough, you're going on the fire.
That's right. That is right. So capybaras are. Capybaras are attracted to pythons because their main food source. I'm not worried. I've had many pythons, including the retics, so I'm not worried about that.
Those are the nasty ones, right?
Retics, they can. Mine, they're very sweet, but you got to get them as babies. Right. And when you see them strike Jay and everything it's because you're getting around their eggs. They're still little, you know.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, monkeys throw poop.
Pope.
I know. I was going to say that.
I wouldn't want a monkey.
No, that's a lot. That is a lot of. That just feels like that's a whole. I have friends who have monkeys.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man.
Well, you end up with one of two situations. You have Michael Jackson on one hand, and then you have the lady whose face was ripped off by her monkey.
Yeah, that's a chimp. Chimp's a totally different story.
Chimpanzees, man.
Yeah.
Michael had a chimp.
So, yeah, Michael had a chimp, but Michael didn't. Michael walked with the chimp, and then the chimp went away with other people. But having a monkey or getting a lemur or getting but the chimps and certain monkeys, spider monkey, it's a full-time job. It's a baby that can never be anything but an angry toddler.
Yeah, and chimps actually can get pretty big, and they've got big teeth.
Yes.
They can get in bad moods.
Yeah, you don't want that. Somebody said a monkey's perpetual 2-year-old with the strength of 5 grown men. That's not something you want.
I saw an article last week where scientists discovered a troop that, for some reason, ended up murdering members of their own troop.
They're in the middle of a civil war.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen this, the monkeys have broken off.
Scary.
And they're killing each other. They're in the middle of a civil war, and they're killing each other in massive groups. And by the way, it's violent, too. They're ripping heads off of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something you'd want to watch on YouTube.
No, it's not.
I watched a group of chimps hunting monkeys in the trees, and one chimp is signaling to the others, and they are following his orders in trapping the monkeys in the trees.
It's that movie. What was
I can't remember what it was.
I know what he's talking about. I've seen it too, and
it's fascinating.
They rip him apart and eat him.
Yes,
and they found out they use tools, which is always nice to know. And they also, did you see that they found out that they've learned about like medicine, like natural medicine, where they'll take something if they got cuts.
Yes.
And they'll. But what's the Planet of the Apes? What's the leader called?
Cornelius.
Yeah, Cornelius. That's that. I'm waiting for it to go. Let me tell you. By the way, if my monkey ever talks and he doesn't have a British accent, I would be so pissed.
That won't happen because, unfortunately, Ricardo Montalban has passed.
So.
That would be great.
But if my monkey goes, "Hey guys, what's going on?" Shut up! No, it's British accent. Hello there. I would tell you something right now, sir. And like that's it.
Oh my gosh, a chimp that sounds like Ricardo Montalban.
What's wrong with your monkey? I don't know.
Ricardo was the.
He thinks he's Argentinian.
Ricardo was the keeper of Cornelius in what was the last movie called? Come on, you guys out there will tell us on the text line. Conquering of the Planet of the Apes or something like that?
Now,
no, yes, Caesar.
A Caesar, that's the one right there. Caesar. Yeah, you don't want to use Caesar. See, because Caesar was a little bit of a badass, right? He raised him up.
Yep.
Got them all to fight. So but I wouldn't be like gorillas. Everybody talks about like who could win between 100 men and a gorilla. I'm like 5 men kill a gorilla
with weapons.
So because you know what, gorillas aren't naturally. They're not like bears. Bears, in particular, polar bears and the Kodiak. Why is that? Because they're carnivores. All they eat is meat. They're used to attacking things. And that's one of the things they've talked about with there's actually a story of a soldier that fought a gorilla and killed him himself.
What country was the gorilla from?
He was in Africa, and this guy was
war?
I think he was like Serbian, so it was Russian. He was one of the Eastern European guys. But it's an interesting thing. They're not used to aggression. That's why tigers would win when they fought certain bears, because they're used to hunting, and their anger is what they go with. But you know what? At the end of the day, screw all these. Let's get ourselves a badger.
The movie was Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. All right, Matt, coming up straight ahead. Chad Ben Show, Super Talk 997. Matt's in here. Ready to rock and roll on this Rock and Roll Thursday. Okay, question.
Yes. Answer.
Has the governor signed
42
raccoon?
I don't know. I don't believe that he has as of yet. But it has gotten.
But he's going to, right?
Oh, yeah. It sailed through the.
So what did it end up being after they went back and forth and they changed it up and they rewrote it?
It is, it's kind of just stage one at this point. It doesn't eliminate the permit, but it eliminates the cost of the permit. And so now we go back next year and we eliminate the permit. Because what I don't understand is if the person selling me the raccoon has to be permitted, right?
Yeah.
Through the Tennessee Wildlife Association or through the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency and, whatever. So they have to be licensed and permitted. Then why do I have to be permitted if I'm buying it from someone who is permitted? The permitting process, it would seem to me, would be a part of making sure the raccoon is, vaccinated and on the up and up and all that. Well, if it's on that end, well, then why do I have to be permitted?
Correct. That's correct.
So it's eliminating the fee on permits, and the governor should sign it. And if he doesn't, he's dead to me.
Dead to you? We don't want that. What's live to you today?
Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti will be here to talk about the Ticketmaster Live Nation suit that we were a part of, and talk about House Bill 1971, which seems to eliminate the right of the Tennessee citizen to sue the government for unconstitutional acts. So we'll talk to him about that. And Scott Spiggy at 4 o'clock.
There you go. Party, everybody. You guys have a good one. See you tomorrow.